Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. Today we're back once again talking about the professional League of Legends offseason, all the latest and greatest rumor, speculation, news, all that good stuff going on in the professional League of Legends scene. Today, again, we're talking about Perkz. He's obviously now moved over to Cloud9, but he's been streaming a lot recently, making a lot of YouTube content and all that stuff, and in his most recent YouTube video, and it's like a highlight from one of his more recent streams, he actually talked about how this offseason went for him, and I think there's some really interesting stuff in this short clip, so I want to run the first part of this video to give a little bit of reaction to, and there's some stuff that we can talk about that I think you guys are going to find interesting for people who have not seen this yet. So let's let this run for a little bit and then we can chat.
Obviously, I'm super excited for NA. Dude, like, you have no idea. New team, new coaching staff, new atmosphere. Like, I've already done everything I possibly could in the EU besides actually winning Worlds, which is something that's what I wanted to do, and it's something I might do in the future, win Worlds, right? But it's not something I will like obsess myself around, I guess. I think people are underestimating NA slightly because of all the...
So I think there's some interesting stuff there. Obviously, he's saying he still wants to win Worlds. He hopes he can do it someday, but he's not only obsessing about that. He's trying to, take new strides in his career and stuff. Obviously, the money has to be a thing. It's a huge amount of money, but he wants to play mid lane. Also, since he's done everything he can in EU, I think going to a new region, trying to conquer NA, even if you don't see NA as like a harder challenge or something than EU, I think a lot of people do still see it as something different. Like if he's won Europe 8 times, 7 times, something like that. At least coming to the LCS with a different team, different players, different atmosphere. Obviously, living in Los Angeles is a great thing as well, and making what he's going to be making around $3 million a year. There's a lot of good stuff happening for Perkz here, obviously. But that doesn't mean he can't still try and win LCS titles and still try and do well at Worlds. Obviously, you say he has a much less chance of winning Worlds, being in North America, being on Cloud9, but that doesn't mean things can't change. Just a few years ago, we would have thought only Korean teams would be winning Worlds, and now G2 has a shot, Chinese teams have a shot. But yeah, some interesting stuff there. But then he talks a little bit more.
Memes. They did like FlyQuest took a game of top esports, and Team Liquid did beat us. And if Team Liquid, the last year roster Team Liquid could beat us, then why the fuck would this roster not beat anybody else in the world? It was actually the best competitive offer for me in the whole world. And I had offers from multiple Chinese teams, half of LCK teams, like all NA teams and a lot of EU teams.
So that's what I want to talk about most in this video, is that he says he actually got offers from both Chinese teams and Korean teams. I think that's pretty crazy. I think that does show just how respected worldwide he is, how much Chinese teams and Korean teams and Chinese players and Korean players think that the best players in NA and the best players in EU are really world-class, and they're worth having on your teams and worth playing around. They also just respect them a ton, because obviously we've seen Core JJ came over to North America just to play with Doublelift. We have a ton of teams saying they want to come over and play with like Perkz and with TSM and with all these different players. So some of these players are respected worldwide. Reckless obviously has a ton of respect. I know a lot of like Chinese fans, players, teams love Reckless. So to see that Perkz actually got offers from LPL teams, got offers from Korean teams, is really crazy. It's really cool, but obviously he still went to Cloud9, he still went to North America, and in this clip he even says that Cloud9 was not the team offering him the most money, which to me probably means some Chinese team, or maybe potentially one of the NA teams too, I guess, maybe like Evil Geniuses or something, was offering more money, but Perkz felt like Cloud9 was the best situation, and I think that makes sense. You could argue, yes, if he's in China, he has a better chance of winning Worlds, potentially, or Korea, but we don't know which teams. If you're like a mid to bottom tier Chinese or Korean team, you don't have a better chance of winning Worlds in Cloud9. You're not even going to be making it to Worlds. And Cloud9 was just in a World semifinal a couple of years ago, and their team, I think everyone would say, is much better now than it was then, so they have a chance to do damage. Just because North American teams have struggled historically doesn't mean anything about the future, especially when you have players like Perkz coming in onto your team. You really have a chance to start doing some damage, especially in a couple of years, if Perkz can actually hopefully teach them how to play the game the right way, how to come together as a team, if they're able to gel well, if Fudge can develop well. I think this team has an interesting shot, but I did think it was crazy that Perkz says he's done everything there is to do in Europe except win Worlds, but he can win Worlds from anywhere. He wants a new challenge. He's ready for a new stage in his life. And yeah, he had offers from these other teams, but I don't really blame him for passing those offers up. Again, we'll never know exactly what teams those are from, but it kind of would be crazy to going to a new place where you don't even speak the language, where the culture is much different. It would be much harder. I feel like for European players coming over to North America, the culture is at least similar enough, and obviously you can still speak the language, you can still kind of live a pretty normal day-to-day life, just as you could in Europe, except obviously you're far away from your friends and family or everything. But I feel like going to China, going to Korea or something would be a much bigger life change, which would be a little bit harder to get used to. Even though some people really love those places, and if you would be fine with that, that's great. But I think for many people, it's much easier to come to the English-speaking countries. And yeah, so I think it makes a lot of sense that he thought that Cloud9 was the best situation for him, even though it wasn't necessarily the best money. Maybe it wasn't even the best roster, best team, best situation, but he felt it was the best situation for him. He's excited to get going. He thinks he can turn Cloud9 into a championship contending team and even a team that can do damage on the world stage. That's what NA fans want to hear. That's what Cloud9 fans want to hear, and I hope he can back it up. I hope he can do it. But that's pretty much it for this video today, guys. Definitely drop a like if you enjoyed it. Leave a comment down below. What do you think about the stuff Perkz is saying? Should he have gone to the LPL? Should he have gone to the LCK? Or do you like where he's at Cloud9? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe to update on the latest content. Check me out over at Twitch, twitch.tv/I_am_germ. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.